Hello, loves. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to another episode of A Beautiful Nightmare. This is your hostess with the mostest, Jess. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today, I want to read a question and some responses. This is going to be pertaining to exes. This is got everything to do with exes. And I got this question from Kiora, and the question is, why does the narcissistic ex-wife hate me, the new wife, so much? Why does my husband always play her games? Well, first, I want to give a little bit of a response to that and say, let's answer the first question, which is, why does the narcissistic ex-wife hate me, the new wife, so much? And I don't think that the new wife necessarily hates the ex-wife necessarily hates the new wife. I'm in this situation too. I have my own struggles. My husband and I have our own struggles with this situation time and time again. It has been years and we are still dealing with this situation. And honestly, we've come to the realization, or I've come to the realization, that she doesn't necessarily hate me. She hates that I represent the end of her marriage. She hates that I represent a lack of, or that my husband's attention is not entirely on her and the children. Now, that's not to say that he does not do what he's supposed to do. He takes care of everything that he's supposed to take care of. But in turn, she punishes him for being with me. And I honestly think that that plays into question number 2, which is, why does he play her games? Well, he loves his children. Okay? Because if there were no children involved, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? Because it would be easier for him to just move on. But the fact of the matter is there's children involved. He wants to be a part of his children's life. And in our situation, she has made it unbearable. Unbearable. It's a pain to even attempt to try and set up a visitation schedule. It's a pain to go and see the children because you just have no idea what you're going to be walking into. He cannot even go see his kids without there being a conversation about something else. To this day, almost every conversation either starts or ends with, well, you made the choice to leave. Well, I wouldn't be talking to you like this or about this if you hadn't left me the way that you did. I mean, and it's really sad. It used to annoy me, and I was like, well, maybe she wants you back. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case, that these women want these men back. I think they just want these men to feel their pain because they have had a hard time moving on and coping with the end of the relationship. Primarily and partly because they're still living in the same house. They're still dealing with the kids every day that look like the father. They are just having a hard time not being able to be their own person because they decided to continue to primarily have physical care of the children. So now they probably feel like their life was stunted. And, my husband and his ex-wife were married for over 20 years. So in that case, maybe the ex-wife feels like there wasn't enough time allowed. He didn't allow enough time for mourning. Maybe he moved on faster than she felt like he should have. But in that, when women take on the children and they get to stay in the same home, and they get to go to the same church and they still have the same friends and things like that, what women fail to realize is that part of the reason that men move on so quickly is because they're lonely. They don't get to wake up and see their children every day. They don't get to wake up in the same comfort of their home that they helped to build for years every day. They don't get to have the same friends. They don't get to go to the same church. They're not in the same neighborhoods that they're accustomed to. And that's very lonely. So it's bitterness on both ends. However, it seems to be 90% of the time, it seems to be that only the men are being punched down on. because, well, the mother, and sometimes women turn their children against their ex-husbands. And then they blame the ex-husbands for the way that the children feel. And it's like, you don't get it both ways. You can't turn the children against the ex-husband and then blame the husband for not having a decent relationship with the children. That's not how things work. But I do want to go into some of the comments that were made. Okay, this is anonymous. It says, as someone who has been there a few times, first of all, she hates you because you took away her toy. Now look, I'm telling you, that's another part of the reason that the husband plays the games, is because this is how she's manipulated him throughout the relationship into getting what she wants. And this is also part of the reason that the husband left, because he was tired of playing the games. He was tired of being manipulated. He was tired of being belittled. He was tired of, not having an equal opportunity relationship where the wife had the upper hand all of the time. Okay? Even if she's the one who left the relationship in the first place, he belongs to her. And she will have expected him to always be there as her backup. And that's the whole thing of it, too, is that these women get out of these relationships and they still try to continue the lifestyle that they had when they had a husband in the home. And it's like, that doesn't work. So when they agreed to the divorce, a lot of these women thought that the relationship or that their lifestyle would continue on as before, that she would still be able to manipulate him into agreeing to things, that she would still be able to live this lavish lifestyle when she probably contributed pennies on the dollar, and now she thinks that she's still supposed to live this kind of lifestyle. She didn't expect that she would have to get out and work more, on top of taking care of the kids, on top of, now that you've turned the kids against the husband, you don't even have a regular babysitter or anything like that, or someone to help discipline the children with them. It's really sad. And that's another thing that I had to learn. Pray for these women. Pray for these women. First of all, pray that the Lord forgives them for all of their evil vindictiveness. Secondly, pray for their healing. Pray for their healing, because honestly, if these women were even anywhere near able to move on with their lives or anything, for whatever reason, whether it's their choice, whether they decide that they want to continue to fight this man instead of work with this man, whether it's they are coming to some realizations that maybe they should not have ended the marriage so abruptly because they thought that they had it all under control. They thought that they were going to get all of this financial support. They thought that they were still going to be able to manipulate the man into doing what they want him to do. All of those hopes and all of those assumptions have come tumbling down on them. And now maybe they regret ending the marriage, not so much so as they want to be with that man, but so much so as they wanted to continue that lifestyle. Okay. So let's see where we got here. She has done all of the horrible things you hear about these people. Cheated, left him 6 months after having the child. She accidentally got pregnant. I guess these things happen. And she promised she was on birth control. And that's another thing. A lot of times when these relationships are starting up in the beginning, there's a pregnancy real fast. Okay? These women intentionally become pregnant real fast. And sometimes when women feel that their husbands are pulling away from them, they will pop up pregnant. So now, instead of actually dealing with the problems that were occurring in the relationship, the woman just has a child. The woman just has a child and hoping that the man will stay because of that. And it's like, that's not going to work. That's only going to cause more issues. That's only another mouth to feed. That's only another way to keep the woman distracted from the man, because let's be frank, when you have a child, the relationship and the chemistry and the intimacy, it gets thrown off. So if you're already having intimacy issues in the relationship, a child is not going to help that. If you're already having communication issues in the relationship, a child is not going to help that. It's not. And these women have been fooled into believing that that's going to work for the husband to stay, primarily because they get this inkling, they get this feeling, and they know that the only reason that the husband is staying in the relationship in the first place, or for such an extended period of time, is for the children. Women do this, okay? Y'all give me a second. I'm going to find another answer because that one's long, but I'm glad that one came up, okay? Okay, so another thing is, Tiffany says, why does it matter if the ex-spouse likes you? That's a conclusion I had to come to. Why do I care if she likes me? I don't care if she likes me. You know, that's not what it was. I didn't care if she likes me. It was just the blending of things would have been a lot easier had she not been a vindictive heifer. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes it don't have anything to do with whether or not the person likes you, but some people are a people pleaser, and sometimes they do want to make sure that the mother is comfortable with the person that's around their children. And we all want that, especially those of us who are already mothers. When we get into a relationship or when we get married and the husband has children and another mother, we empathize with that. We know that you want to make sure that your children are safe. We know that you want to make sure that your children are not going to be taken advantage of, or that this person is not going to be speaking negatively in front of your children, or that you and your husband are not going to be all cuddle booed up and making the children uncomfortable, or that there's not going to be toxic things going on in the household. Or if you already have children and you're going to be blending these children together, that the child, that this person's child, the new wife's child or the new husband's child, is not going to be mean to the other children, to their children that they have together. So I completely understand why there needs to be a sense of, I guess, not likability, but comfortability, but let's be real. Comfortability has a certain level of likability. Okay. So that was another one. Okay. So Barefoot Lady says, when he dated you, it made her look bad. Made her feel like she was nothing. It made her feel ugly. It made her feel unworthy. It made her feel like she couldn't trust her own opinions and things like that. Look, I don't know who's watching this, if you've been cheated on or anything like that, but we all know. Even if you're not cheated on, even if it's a situation where it was a clean cut or anything like that, you know how it feels to have a breakup and then see the person that you broke up with another person. It stings a little bit, no matter how much you think that you're prepared to deal with that, it stings a little bit to see that he's happy with another person. Yes. Okay. It's stupid, I know. But that is how this type of person thinks. She thinks that everything is about her. So if you think it's bad in the marriage, it only gets worse after the marriage, especially if you have children, because now she's got little pawns and she's got little weapons to use against you. Okay? All right, one more. Susan says, it is her job to hate you, especially if you're doing a good job. That is so true, okay? I mean, and these are really long, so I'm paraphrasing a lot of these responses, and the first response I gave you was my personal response. But Susan's absolutely right. It is her job to hate you, especially if you're doing a good job. For instance, when I first started dating my husband, we were taking the kids to all kinds of activities. I was buying the kids birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, Easter gifts. I was bringing my children around so that they can get to know each other and things like that. And she didn't like that. And ultimately, it ended up that she turned the kids against him so that so she didn't have to see me having fun with her children. She didn't have to worry about my kids blending with her kids. It was easier for her to just blame me and hate me instead of doing the hard work to heal herself and ensure that everyone in this dynamic had a certain level of comfortability. Okay? She felt like we were taking her family. That's what it was. She felt like we were taking her family. Now you got my husband. He's over there. He's parenting your child on a regular basis like he used to parent my child on a 24-hour basis. And now you expect that I'm going to allow my children to come over there so y'all can play happy family? This is the thought process of a toxic, bitter person. It's not necessarily what you may be thinking, like, yeah, I'm going to take her husband, I'm going to take this, that, and the other, because quite frankly, who sees it as taking someone's husband? The relationship was over and you two started a new relationship. That's what it is. But in her eyes, you took her husband. You are the rubber stamp on this marriage is officially ended. Boom. Doesn't matter that the judge ordered it. Doesn't matter that there's documents stating it. You are the rubber stamp that cemented the ending of this relationship. And now you want to parent my children? No. That's what it is. That's how these people think. And it's very sad. And now, and in some instances, you can expect that in the beginning. But honestly, if it's going on in the beginning, it's going to be going on for quite some time. So my advice to you is to just continue to help your husband cope with the toxicity of what's going on. Likely, if this is going on, she's playing games with the kids, probably canceling visitations. She's probably telling the kids things negative about you. And I just had to get to the point of where I understood, like, you know what, God's rejection is only for my protection, okay? So if she's rejecting you, if the kids are rejecting you, God is protecting you, okay? God is keeping you out of that nonsense. I know it hurts, but just think about it. If y'all did get along, she would probably be trying to manipulate you into leaving him. She would probably be trying to befriend you, so much so that it would actually in turn hurt your relationship in a completely different way, in a more devastating way. So ladies, if y'all are out there, I know a lot of us out here, stepmoms, I know wife number 2, not wife number 1, but the previous relationship didn't work out. A lot of that too is, especially if you're doing good, if y'all are happy, if y'all are genuinely happy together, despite everything that she tries to do to mess things up for you, that's another reason that she's bitter, is that she can't seem to drive a wedge. She can't seem to drive a wedge between the two of you. And honestly, if her tactics are not bringing you and your husband closer, then y'all have a bigger issue. Just saying. Because in my situation, yes, me and my husband, I've had the sense of like, well, why didn't you fix this before you left or anything like that? Why is she coming after you? It's easy to blame the husband for that, but you got to realize this is the way she's behaving is a huge reason that the man got out of that relationship. This is nothing new for her. Okay? If she's behaving like this now, imagine how she was behaving when he was in the relationship with her. Okay? Well, that's all I got for now. I got to get into work, y'all. I love you so much. Thank you for stopping by. I really hope that this helped you. I will post another video about this because it really is a serious situation. And honestly, it's about these kids at the end of the day. Okay, it really is about these kids at the end of the day. It's about making sure that they feel comfort, that they feel loved, and that they understand that these adults can get along for their benefit. And yeah. Till next time, y'all. It's a beautiful nightmare, but we can wake up and make this a beautiful life. You and your husband are together. Y'all love each other. You love these children, and that is the beauty in the nightmare. The nightmare is that you have to deal with this woman until all of these kids are 18 and probably past that, because just because the kids turn 18 doesn't mean things are going to stop. It just means that you get to respond differently. Okay? All right. Till next time, y'all. I love you. Mwah. Take care.